So today we're actually talking about resales, recaptures, and referrals. And this is the most profitable workshop that we run every year. And the reason that I say that is because when we run a recapture campaign for ourselves or for our clients, we usually get a better return on investment than any other type of marketing campaign that we ever do. And that's counting people time, what people pay us for people time. That's counting printing costs, mailing costs, swag. Often we send swag or candy or something like that with a recapture campaign. But that is our very, very most profitable campaign that we ever run. And Ali, good to see you as well. And we'll just keep rolling and catch up with introductions and things as we go along as we're able. But we do have quite a bit to cover, and I know a lot of people are going to be seeing the recording of this because they happen to be at Sun and Fun in Florida. So, all right. So to start with, if you want to, or if you are able to, and this is kind of the live audience participation part of this, which just best describes your business? 1, flight school; 2, FBO; 3, MRO; 4, broker or consultant; 5, other. And you can type in other. Okay, there you go. Stella's a writer, so I know you're in other and things. But yeah, we just like to kind of keep track of that as we go through, so that we can kind of tailor our examples a little bit better as we go through. And then also download and print the workbook. It's in the appointment, and it's also in the chat window. If you can't get that, or if you joined after we published that, Stella, if you wouldn't mind putting that back in if anybody requests it. I'm not monitoring the chat, and John's not with me today, so I'm the lone stranger. So if you wouldn't mind manning the chat, that would be super helpful. Is that okay? Yeah? Okay, great. Thank you. All right. Okay, so agenda for today: why resales, recaptures, and referrals. We're also going to talk about the subscription model as a business model for aviation companies. We're going to talk about recaptures, which I said is our very most profitable campaign ever. Referrals, most aviation companies get 50% or more of their business from referrals. And I actually just ran a poll on my LinkedIn this week, and it's actually way more than 50%. So I'm going to have to revise this slide, or revise our figures based on what we're finding out. A lot of aviation companies that have been in business for any length of time make way more money from second and subsequent transactions than they do from first transactions. So all of the prospecting, all of the beating the bushes, and all that other stuff that we do is great. It's done for the purpose of achieving a transaction, but more than that, it's done for the purpose of acquiring a customer that you can have a long-term relationship with, because the money is made further down the road in that first transaction. That's true for us, and that's true for, I would say, 80% of our clients as well. I'm going to guess that. I used to say 50%, now I'm going to say 80%. All right. Okay, so this is where it fits on our sales process. Of course, we start with prospecting. That was our January workshop. We do approaches. We do a holding pattern. That was our last workshop. We have a sales course that you can take anytime you choose to. We don't actually do a live workshop for that. And then this is kind of the fifth element of that circle is referrals and testimonials. And that is where we kind of come back to the beginning. So this is the last in our series that is basically the fundamentals of sales in the aviation industry. Make sense? All right. Okay. So I am not a math person. There are people who are math people. But one number that you absolutely have to know is your customer lifetime value, your CLV. If you know what that is, you will probably find that it is higher than you think it is, if you're just guessing. And that changes everything, because that changes the amount of money you can invest in prospecting, the amount of money you can invest in onboarding, the amount of money that you can invest in marketing campaigns. All of that comes from your customer lifetime value. If a customer is worth you know, $4 million to you in fees or whatever over their lifetime, that is very different than the amount of a particular transaction, which is probably less than $1 million, you know, if you're in one of the traditional aviation industry transaction amounts and things like that. So the way this works is it's customer value, right? Okay, so maybe your first transaction times the average customer lifespan. So how long do they stay with you? So let's say, you know, we have a subscription model. So at our silver level, that's $379 a month times the number of months that they tend to stay with us. So that is traditionally customer lifetime value, right? So that's average purchase value plus average frequency rate. So that's times a month, right? Okay. So all of that you can break down even further if you wanted to. Everybody with me so far? Anybody lost? Okay, cool. So that is traditionally your customer lifetime value, but we need to add the value of referrals to that. So we have some clients who are maybe, you know, on again, off again customers, or, you know, they're at the low end of our subscription levels, you know, our service levels, but they refer a lot of clients to us. And so those have a higher value, and we actually end up doing more work for them or being nicer to them or, you know, valuing their relationship even more than some of our customers who are maybe at a higher level, but, you know, haven't stayed with us as long, haven't referred as many people, aren't advocates for us in the marketplace, because that is worth something to us. And, you know, so that loyalty and also those referrals are just absolutely amazing. We do offer incentives for referrals, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. But first of all, you know, before we move on, I just wanted to make sure that you understand, because we're going to talk about spending some money in this workshop, and I want to make sure that you understand where the money comes from, and that is your customer lifetime value. If you can improve your customer lifetime value by either keeping them around longer with longer retention, or by getting referrals from them, then you are improving your bottom line without acquiring more customers. And that's really what it's all about, because every new customer is a whole nother set of issues, problems, things you got to learn, things like that. And, you know, we love every new customer, of course, but our old customers are even more valuable than that because of their loyalty and because of their relationship with us. All right. Okay, so what we don't want is to hound people give us referrals, you know, and there are some companies like our one of the service providers for our lawn is always asking us for referrals every single time they mow our lawn, which is once a week. They're saying, you know, who else do you know in your neighborhood that needs their lawn mowed? You know, and that's great. We've given them a couple of names over time, but it's just like, you know what, you know, all of our neighbors by now. You know, we are not going to continue having this conversation every single time. And, you know, so that bombardment of the same message over and over. Our customers are busy. We want to respect their time. We want to be respectful of their relationship with us as well. Stella, you had a comment on my post about this. I guess you have an experience like that?
Few experiences like that. You know, I used to work in HR, and, you know, we would have vendors come in trying to sell us different software packages or benefit management or whatever it was. And you'd say, you know, can't right now. We're in the middle of a contract that already provides that. So, you know, contact me in 6 months or a year, depending on what that contract was. You know, and they would never wait 6 months or a year. They would be back in a month saying, we have this great special. Do you want to get in now while it's going? Or, you know, they would have some other product that they're trying to push off on us. And I'm like, I told you, we already have a contract with a vendor. We cannot change that for at least a year. So I'm not even thinking about this.
Yeah,
For
exactly.
at least 6 months, if not longer.
Right.
You know, if I love who I'm with right now, I'm not going to change to you come a year, even though my contract is up, because
Yeah,
I love who I'm with and they're doing a great job. Why would I change?
exactly, exactly.
But they don't hear that. They're like, oh, but we could give you this. Oh, but we could give you that. They're like,
Right.
please just go away.
Right, exactly. And, specifically in the nature of referrals, there are companies that will bombard you every single interaction with, did we do a good job on this customer service thing? Did we fix your ticket in an appropriate amount of time? Do you have anybody you can refer to us? It's great to take advantage of those opportunities, but rule number one is let's not overdo it. So we're going to start with that caveat before we get into some of the things that we're talking about.
Unless you're sending them like a reminder email or something like that. We
Mhm.
have this special, because then they can hit delete. I don't want to hear from you guys.
Mhm.
But when they're doing it by phone or in person, yeah, it gets to be overwhelming.
Right, exactly. Okay, so resales is one of the things that fits really well with the business model for recurrent training for flight schools, brokers who sell aircraft to fleets and things. There's going to be a turnover of every 3 years, or whatever that contract is. Whenever engines come off of a service program, whatever the maintenance schedule is for an MRO. For an FBO, you kind of get a feel for how often people are in town. Maybe they're in town every spring for the Masters tournament. They fly into Augusta, Georgia for the Masters tournament. So, there's going to be planes that arrive every year that time. There's a lot of patterns that you can observe if you look at your customer data. So, if we look at this process from the perspective of, of course, we've got our acquisition. And this is where we spend so much time and energy on our marketing. This is where most of our clients come to us. I've got a problem with client acquisition, or I need more leads, etc. So that prospecting section is the most expensive and also most, I think, the least amount of fun, because you are breaking down that trust barrier every single time with every single new person. So there's acquisition, then there's retention, right? And then there are upsells and cross sells, which you can do. And often those are done really well in other industries and not so well in our aviation industry. There are some opportunities that we could take advantage of that we are not. And then churn is basically customers that leave you rather than rebuy from you. So you want to keep them in this circle. They come in through acquisition, they leave through churn, they stay in this circle, right? So you want them to go around the circle as many times as possible before the churn. And of course, there's going to be things. We've had this conversation with our team. Is there anything we could have done to keep this customer? And sometimes there is not. Their business model isn't a good match for us anymore. Something has happened. It really is a cash flow situation that has nothing to do with marketing. There's some times that we cannot prevent churn, but a lot of times we can. So we want to make sure that we are using everything in our power to keep them in this circle and to keep them in that cycle. All right. So first of all, subscription ideas. So almost I'm going to say for the last 5 years, just about every company that you could think of, every business model that you can think of, has been tried as a subscription service. It used to be that this was kind of unusual. And then it started with software, I think, where you used to go to the store and you would buy software in a box and you would take it home and you would stick this is probably dating me, but you would actually stick the CD or the discs or whatever in your computer. You would download this software, you would install it, and you would own this software for as long as you wanted. And it would work for, in some cases, years before you had to update it or anything else. And then they started selling updates online or offering updates online. But you actually owned software, you weren't subscribing to it. So nowadays, razors, socks, all kinds of things, hair care products, also business to business products. Consumables in the aviation industry have been this way for a while, things like hydraulics, oil, other things that people use a lot of. if you sell those business to business to an MRO or something like that, those are done as subscriptions, and, you know, other things like that. But there's other things that can be done as a subscription, you know, maybe giving people regular deliveries of consumables or parts that you know they're going to need on a regular basis. Being a consultant, you can do a retainer agreement where they have first priority on your time, you know, and other things like that. You could do a paid newsletter. Some of those do very, very well if it's information that they couldn't get any other way. Software as a service, we just talked about. Data access, this is a big one. Airpack, JetNet, other people have data access plans that are subscription services as well. You can do like short courses or webinars, you know, like ours, where you offer a subscription model where that is either all or part of the service that you provide. Okay, so here's some examples that different companies in the aviation industry use. So catering, cleaning, detailing, maintenance, etc., attorneys, consultants. These are some subscriptions: Flight Global and Speed News. Software as a service, Salesforce or ForeFlight. Data would be JetNet or Airpack. Training would be things like King Schools or Cessna Training Online. They have some subscription products that you can buy so that you are always up to date on you know, the latest and greatest of, you know, the training materials. ACC Training Hub is another one that looks like it's really good for some of the training that techs need in the aviation industry. So all of those things are great models for a subscription. So yeah, I mean, if you've got an idea, or if you want to throw something in the chat, or if you want to talk about how your business model might be turned into a subscription, you know, that might be something that we can discuss in class. So I know Stella is a writer, so, you know, often she will sell her services as a subscription, you know, where people need content on a regular basis. Of course, AVCI sells marketing services as a subscription only because we want to get to know our customers really well so that we are providing better and better services over time. And we know that the nature of marketing is such that it's not a one-time, what is the word? One-time event, but it is an ongoing activity. That's the only way that it works. It's not where you used to buy a Super Bowl ad or whatever, and then you would have customers for a year. Those kinds of things just don't work anymore. It's now all about consistent effort as opposed to single events and things like that. All right. So how can you make your subscription product more valuable? So let's say you have a subscription product and it's not selling very well. These are some things that you can do to add value to your subscription product. One is to ensure an attractive outcome within a specific time frame. This is a little hard for some of us if we have very custom services, but if you have if your customers always come to you with a similar problem, you can say, you know, this is a problem that we can solve within 90 days or 120 days, or we can expect this much improvement in this time frame. So, you know, if you can guarantee any kind of an attractive outcome such as that, then, you know, that just makes it 1,000 times easier to sell. Make keepable promises for each quarter or each month of service. We try to do this in every single one of our office hours, you know, say, here are things that we can do for you by the time we meet next month. And, you know, or results that we expect to be able to achieve by the time we meet next month. Every time you keep a promise, you build trust. And, you know, then of course they'll trust you more and more and more, and hopefully either stick around or even improve the relationship by raising their level of service or giving you referrals as well. You want to highlight customer success stories. Sometimes they don't even realize that what they did was a success until you point it out to them. You know, we did this together, we worked on this together, and we had this outcome, and they're like, oh, wow, yeah, that was really cool. And they don't even recognize that because they are so busy going on with their life. You know, they have a great success and then they move on past it without even noticing it. We're not great at celebrating our own successes, much less those that others have helped us achieve.
Follow with those when you
yeah.
help someone else achieve you're a service-based provider. When you
Mhm.
have someone else achieve it, write up a case study.
Mhm.
You know, that's a great testimonial to put on your website that we helped ABC do this within 6 months or 9 months or whatever it was. And add the
Exactly.
specifics in there, because that becomes then a testimonial for your company.
Mhm. Yeah, and we just had a great conversation this morning about capturing that data, as a baseline as part of our onboarding process so that we can more easily use that data, to provide good case studies and other things. And Ali, I don't know if you're available to speak, but if you are, feel free to chime in.
Yes, I'm available and we discuss in a good way because the base data is very essential. Client always look forward that from where he started and what is the current status of their social media, website or anything else. So for that, we need have a basic data that on what level of social media or website ranking he joined us, and now our efforts made this happen.
Mm-hmm.
So this is very essential, and it is also good that, as you mentioned, that clients are very busy in their own success and other projects. So we need to highlight them through this model that we
Mm-hmm.
have your data and now the things are improved. This some of our previous clients, you always highlighted them that you are ranking on this position, you are in a search bar of Google right now, or you are ranking in a first page. And we have a lot of comments on Google pages as well, social media pages as well. But I think so they always forget to look back that from where we started. But
Yeah.
because of this data, we always show them this is our progress, this is our hard work, which you are paying to us.
Yes. Absolutely. And, it is so easy to just skip over that and just jump into the next big problem without, having those milestones that you can look back on and say, this is the progress that we've made to date, or to not capture that information in the first place, so you aren't able to use that. So I'm really looking forward to improving that process as well. To continue, offer limited one-on-one or small group live training or consultations. This is something that we have found is incredibly attractive, especially for software companies and others that have maybe a complex product or solution. If you offer to, as an example, Business Aircraft Records, they have courses, online courses that they provide to some of the tech training schools and things like that. But it's even more attractive if Larry Heinbaugh, who is an expert on this topic, will go to that flight school, provide a lecture, not flight school, that tech school, provide a lecture on the topic, as well as the online courses, because online courses are great, but it is so much better when someone shows up in person or gives an online, customized training where people can ask questions and interact, like we are today. So, we have all of these workshops available all the time, that anyone could take anytime they chose to, but more people attend them if we or attend our live replays than attend the pre-recorded sessions. And I think that's just the nature of life in general. People enjoy the interaction or enjoy a recent recording as opposed to something that was recorded years ago, even if it was a better recording. They just like the spontaneity and things like that. Okay, adding other relevant products and services from partners. This could be where a charter service partners with a local restaurant. We've seen that happen, or with a local detailing company or someone else to provide better service. In fact, Special Services Corporation has done detailing people's cars, while they are out of town and getting their dry cleaning done. So, you drop off the car, you go on a trip, you come back, your car is detailed, your dry cleaning is done, you are ready for your next sales appointment. And, that's just a huge convenience for their clients. And, they're using other local partners to provide that service. So you don't have to do it all yourself. You can make those partnerships that provide even more service for your clients. offer priority scheduling or support request handling. A lot of the software companies are doing this. So, they only provide support, phone support, and this drives me crazy, right? There's only ticket support available, and unless you are at a certain level where they provide phone support. But it is expensive to provide, so I totally understand that some people are not able to provide support unless you are at a certain level. Create online or instructor-led courses. So, this would be for things like, again, software or complex products or services where something needs to be installed or something needs to be maintained on a regular basis. If you can provide a video showing people how to use it properly, they're more likely to have a positive experience with it. They're more likely to refer it to others because they can just share that video and say, hey, this is a great product. I was able to install it myself. It works really well. Here's how it works. Here's a video that they made on how to do it, especially if you can do a really short, punchy 2-minute video, that shows people how to get better results from that product or service. Offer continuing education credits for your product. You could allow somebody to become certified, like Salesforce certification, if you're selling software, something along those lines, where, if you take Salesforce courses, you could apply them toward your professional credential as a PMP or as an accountant or whatever. Those are things that you can do that add value. And it's fairly easy to get approved as a continuing education course for some number of hours of continuing education credits. NBAA, the National Business Aviation Association, has their CAM program. That is a professional program that requires continuing education credits as well. So getting CAM certified for your credits is also very helpful. Introducing your customers to each other. This is amazing. A lot of our clients that get to know one another appreciate us more, and they also appreciate the group more as a result of that. So, that's another way to make your subscription model more valuable. In a lot of cases, people join us for the service, but then they stick around because of the relationships and, because of the ability to do business with other people who are in the group. Host networking events. We have a breakfast every year at NBAA. That is a lot of fun, and people get to know each other in person. It just makes it so much easier to interact even online or on Zoom if you've met someone in person. And I'm saying that, and some of the people, I've not met anybody who's live on this workshop in person, but I would like to. I think that's one of the things I'd like to do over the next year or so. Okay, so recapture campaigns. This is the same as any other campaign in the sense that you've got a list, an offer, and a presentation. So whenever we do a marketing campaign, we have those 3 elements. We're working on this right now. So we're taking everybody that has been the ones that got away, either they worked with us for a time and left, or we did a sales presentation for them and they it didn't work out for whatever reason. The timing was bad. It was too expensive at the time. We didn't offer the service specifically that they wanted at the time, etc. So that's the list. Customers who left you, prospects that didn't buy. Last meaningful contact was up to 6 years ago. So for this campaign, we like to have 20 to 50 names because we find that is a really good number, and we cherry pick the list, right? So there's some people that, we know wouldn't be a good fit. Some people that we don't want to work with, and others, that we will leave off of that list. And so we pick 20 to 50 names, people that we think would be a good fit. The offer is something that they wanted that maybe you couldn't offer at the time. We didn't have the team, we didn't have the software, we didn't have whatever it was. Or you could use the same products and services that you offered last time because things may have changed on their end. They may have a better cash flow situation than they did. They may have more time available. They may have been in the middle of, a remodel or, some business phase. that needed to conclude before they were ready to do business with you, etc. You can also offer some kind of a bonus or a gift certificate to make it a limited time offer that makes this a little bit more, adds a little bit of urgency to that situation. So the offer is very important. It needs to be something attractive to those 20 to 50 people. And once you have your list, you can come up with an offer that you think is going to be attractive to them. All right, so then what do you do once you have your list and you have your offer? We like to do a mailed package since most of our clients or prospective clients and most of our 20 to 50 names are going to be within the United States, and we have really good low-cost mail service in the United States. So we'll put together some kind of a mailed package, and I like that to be something chunky. And what I mean by that is something three-dimensional. So it's not just a letter or a postcard. It's something that they actually have to open because there's a book in there, there's candy in there, there's swag in there, a coffee mug or something. So when someone brings in their mail from the mailbox, often their assistant will go through it, and anything that looks like marketing, they're just going to put in one pile, and anything that looks like it's not marketing or needs to be opened, they'll put in a pile for their boss. And so if it's three-dimensional or chunky in some way, it looks like a package, then that goes directly to the boss and bypasses that gatekeeper. Okay, we like to include a catalog or a brochure or a booklet of some kind. We use our social media for Aviation Professionals book, which makes that a little bit chunkier. We could use our calendar. We've done that as well for this. We have a printed wall calendar that is kind of nice. Those are things that we can include in that. So these all go into the mailed package, but in addition to the mailed package, we also do social media contacts. We do events. We do other things. We may do a webinar, about that particular product or service, and we do emails. And usually a set of 3 or 5 emails is effective for this. And then we may follow up with another mailed package, maybe follow up with a last chance postcard of some kind. So this needs to be a multimedia campaign that works really well for our resales campaign. Hey, John.
How you doing?
Good. So John hates these because he's the one that ends up putting our packages together and getting those to the post office and everything else. But, we still do them because they are so worth the expense and the effort. They are our most effective campaigns that we do every year. And we typically do them either Valentine's Day or Thanksgiving or, the middle of summer, sometime when it works for us, but also when we have some kind of a theme for a holiday or some reason to be sending them candy. And candy is really traditional Valentine's Day and Halloween, and it's usually safe to send chocolate in the mail in the United States at Valentine's Day and at Thanksgiving, but not in the middle of summer. So just practical reasons, that we may want to choose for some of these things. So that's our campaign: list, offer, presentation, right? Okay. So this is the same campaign, just a different view of it. Basically, we research our prospects, those 20 to 50 names online. If they make the final list, that's great. If they don't make the final list, we add them to our holding pattern and maybe update their information. It's a great time of year to maybe add them to Taplio, which is some new software that we're using. Add them to a client list or add them to a holding pattern list like that so that we interact with them more carefully in the future. But if they do make the list of this 20 to 50, then we send them a package in the mail. We engage with them on social media, maybe send them a message saying, hey, did you receive our package? With a picture of the package. And that kind of thing. And it usually will start a conversation of some kind. Send 3 to 5 emails. What we're looking for from that is a scheduled appointment for a consultation, right? And if they schedule a consultation, that's great. We continue with the sales process. If they do not schedule an appointment, we put them back in the holding pattern. Nothing is wasted, nothing is lost. Everything works the way that we want it to, and we can calculate our expenses. So anything in blue is an expense. How much time did we spend researching? How much time did we spend putting that package together? How much time did we spend, engaging on social media? How much time did we spend doing those emails? How much money did we spend on postage and printing and those other things? And that helps us calculate the expenses. So, and then what we get out of it is active prospects in the campaign, revived relationships. We get, for each of those appointments, we figure 1 in 4 turns into a sale at some point over the next 8 months. So, that's how we do our math on this campaign. Your mileage may vary, but that gives you a place to start when you're figuring your results for this campaign. Does that sound about right, John?
Yep.
Okay. He does the math. I don't do math, if I can help it.
Apologize for being late. I was on a long-winded conversation with the other business.
Prospective customer, no doubt. Okay. Excellent. Okay, and then referrals, of course, we're going to be talking about John Janch's referral engine later this month. One of the key points from that book that I love is what he calls the core talkable difference. So, if you are making referrals to people, and John does this all the time about some of his favorite products and services, makes referrals accidentally because he's talking to people about something that he thought was cool. Did you know that this product will do X, Y, or Z? And, did you know that this can do that? So figuring out what is your core talkable difference, what can people not help but talk to each other about you? And we've had one example where we actually improved somebody's SEO quite a bit, and they ended up talking with a board member of another company, and they said, really, tell me more about that, and they sent them the little graph that we did of their social media, and we ended up with another customer out of that situation because they shared that little graph with a board member of another company. So if you have a core talkable difference, that's great. If you do not, you want to think about simplifying that, making that something that you could put into a social media post, into a little card that you include when people receive their order from you. Put that into something that people can easily share with other people. And we'll talk about that more when we talk about the book, because that's one of my favorite points in the referral engine. I think John Janch is absolutely brilliant. He joined us for it wasn't about the referral engine. It was one of his other books that he joined us for a conversation about. And he really put this succinctly and really, really well in terms of how to do referrals. Okay, so those referral entry points, when do you ask for a referral? I think, when you send people, and when we send people a what we call our prospecting package, it includes a sheet of testimonials in that package, showing these are people that enjoy our services, these are people that have referred us to others, and so forth. And you want to set that expectation in the sales process because they realize, okay, this is the type of business this is the type of business that gets referred a lot to other people. You want to segment your customers from partners, so you can get referrals from partners like your printer or your suppliers or other people. But you want to have different referral methods from each of them. You want to create turnkey referral tools. So as an example, IntelliJet, one of our clients, has their insider program. They have a landing page and they have some nice social media posts that say, if you know of an aircraft for sale or that might be going to be for sale, let us know and you will get a finder's fee for that, because they get a lot of business from divorce attorneys. They get a lot of business from appraisers, from financial planners, from FBOs, who know that a plane has been sitting for a while, when it used to be flying every week. That's an opportunity where they could say, hey, here's an opportunity for you guys to check out, potential future aircraft sale. And then they get a nice little chunk of money out of the deal. They're very scrupulous about their ethics. They put the money in escrow until, the deal turns out. Everybody is super above board about being transparent about it. And it's really a good deal for everyone, you know, because they get great service, and things work out very well. All right, plan for logical collection of referrals. So, you know, when someone refers someone to us, it goes on a spreadsheet, you know, that I keep in our pipeline. I know who referred that person, so I make sure that that person who made the referral gets whatever I promised them, you know, whether that was a referral fee or some additional office hours or whatever it is that they wanted from the deal. And, you know, we make sure we do that. Frequent and regular requests, not too frequent or regular, as we discussed earlier, all right? We don't want to drive people crazy. And we want to measure and adjust our process. You know, where are we getting most of our referrals from? And how can we make that better, easier, cooler, neater, more fabulous? Okay. So delegate and automate your referral process. We can do a lot of these things for you. We can create email campaigns. We can create landing pages. We can create your entire referral campaign. If you're in the United States, we can mail it for you. All of those things are things that we can do for you. So if you like what you've heard today, but it sounds like too much work, you know, we are very happy to help you out with any number of different aspects of that, planning it, executing it, measuring your results, etc. So, you know, we can put the campaign worksheet together. We can discuss it. We can decide how we want to proceed. We can execute any of those bits and pieces that you don't want to do. And, you know, the parts that you want your team to be able to handle, that's great too. We can provide the sales coaching about how to manage the referrals as they come in. All of that is stuff that we can help you with. Make sense?
Yep.
All right, cool. We had a workshop. This was actually a GKIC workshop a number of years ago. You can tell by the picture. Penn Jillette has lost a lot of weight since then. Penn Jillette is a amazing magician. And he has had I think probably the longest run of any magician in Las Vegas. He has it's called Penn and Teller. They have had TV shows and a Las Vegas show and all kinds of magic. And Penn Jillette is probably one of the best marketers I have ever met. We went to one of his workshops with GKIC, and he would talk about how he would do a very, very simple trick, even if it was just a street magic kind of a deal. And he started out as a street magician, ended up selling his act to some of the casinos and things like that, and making it huge. But the reason that he was different from any of the other magicians working on the streets of Las Vegas is because he was willing to work harder than anybody else. And he would rehearse things for hours and hours and hours. He would rehearse every single detail. You know, he would go over it again and again and again, make sure that he drives, what is Teller's name? Do you remember Teller's first name? John?
Yeah.
Exactly. He would drive him crazy. You know, he would drive his partner crazy with all of the rehearsals. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. But, you know, the reason that his magic is so perfect and the reason that he is such a great marketer and the reason that he does what he does is because he is persistent and because he is willing to work harder than anybody else thinks is reasonable. And I think that's kind of what sets ABCI apart from a lot of the other marketing firms is we're willing to work harder than anybody else thinks is reasonable. And, you know, a lot of people think, you know, they ask us, how do you accomplish what you do in the amount of time that you spend doing it? And the reason is because that's exactly right. That is what we do. All right. So if you are not a member of our marketing lab, why not? We'd love to have you. And, you know, we'd be happy to help you with any of your marketing, including Resales Recaptures Referrals, or prospecting or your holding pattern, or, you know, any phase of your marketing that you need to work on. And, you know, the people that have been with us for a while, we go around that circle every year, improving each phase of their marketing so that they are able to get better and better and better results. And we really enjoy working with aviation companies. And that is what we do. All right, questions, comments, thoughts about any of this? Referral entry points, customer lifetime value, resale campaigns, recapture campaigns, subscription models? Okay, well, I guess we did either a really amazing job or we left everybody speechless. So thank you for joining us. And we will see you next
Or you
time.
put us all to sleep.
Exactly. I know that's always a possibility, but I didn't want to say that.
So
No,
I have only one question.
yes.
Of companies, broker, aircraft broker as well, or the pilot to schools, training to schools, they often ask that what is the return of investment from ABCI or any marketing company?
Mhm,
So how we will convince them? Because usually we are doing marketing and sales since a couple of years.
mhm,
But what I see and experience that most of the companies or individuals are in a hurry. They
mhm,
want results as soon as possible. They are
mhm,
not in a position to wait and watch. They want that I sign a contract, but I want to see results ASAP. So
mhm.
how can we satisfy them, and what is your take on this?
Okay. So return on investment is calculated like this. And it is done by campaign. So a relationship with ABCI, we will do any number of different types of campaigns for a client. And we can calculate the return on investment for any given campaign. But most of the time, the sales process for any of this is going to be a minimum of 6 months. And that's why we have a minimum 6-month handshake agreement with any new client. Because by that time, one or more of their campaigns should be showing a return. In some cases, at probably the worst, I'm going to say the longest, sales cycle in the aviation industry is large cabin jets, especially multiples of large cabin jets. In some cases, to make an acquisition, they have to actually spin off a corporation to be a holding company to, assume the management of those jets so that they can pay taxes on them in a way. So, there's a lot of work to be done before the transaction can take place. Not all of that is marketing. So, there's a lot of it that is outside of our hands. And so we can calculate the value of any given campaign, but we need to have a long enough lead time to reasonably accommodate how long a transaction is going to take. So, if you're selling, a general aviation product like let's say, cleaner, for airplanes, a windshield cleaner for airplanes, then, you can probably expect a return on investment like immediately, like within weeks. I would say probably a 6-week minimum for a retail product that is less than $100 and can be sold online without a lot of salesperson interaction. So I would say probably a minimum of 6 weeks for a product like that almost could be bought from a vending machine. But for anything that is more complex or involves more people or more business processes or anything else, there you go. It's just going to take a much longer time. And that's why we do that handshake agreement, because 99% of the people we talk to is going to be 6 months or longer. Cool, John, you found out Teller is his one and only name. Well, nobody knows Teller's first name because that is his first name.
Right. Yeah, legally changed in 2015.
Wow, okay. That's cool. So it is Penn and Teller. And yeah, if you ever want to watch something really, really fun, look them up on YouTube. They are really, really outspoken, very cool people, but very opinionated about politics like most people, but they're also very, very fun and very good at marketing. So any other questions, thoughts, comments?
Why ABCI? Why we work with ABCI?
Why ABCI? Why the name? As
No,
aviation
why
business
why
consultants.
anyone wants to work with ABCI? What should
Oh,
differentiate from other marketing companies with
okay.
ABCI?
Yeah, I would say the biggest difference between us and other aviation marketing companies, well, the biggest business between us and other marketing companies is that we know aviation. The biggest difference between us and other aviation marketing companies is that we have a very collaborative business model and a very flexible business model that I think creates much more authentic and transparent advertising, as opposed to the traditional agencies where they are creating something that they're producing independently and throwing it back over the wall and may or may not fit what the company really does. So I think customers recognize transparency nowadays and respect transparency. They prefer that over perfect and glossy magazine ads, the things that they used to do.
We also introduce all of our clients to each other,
Mhm.
and most places do not do that.
That is true. Yeah, a lot of marketing companies try to keep their clients from talking to each other, and I think that's a mistake. I think they benefit, especially in the aviation industry. It's a small world, and everybody benefits from learning from each other as well. So that's another big difference. Thank you, John. Great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, thanks you guys for joining us. I know, Ali, you're up in the middle of the night. That's crazy.
Yes. No worries. No worries.
Roman, I know we didn't give you much of a chance to say anything. Are you still with us, or was there anything we can help you with today?
Hey everybody. No, I'm good. Thanks for asking. I was just here in the background, just kind of getting into all that knowledge, and I was glad joining and hearing from you the details on that aspect. So thanks so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. Yeah, I'm glad you joined us. And yeah, well, the recording of this, like I said, is probably going to be a lot more popular than the live event because we scheduled it right in the middle of Sun and Fun. I think it's like opening day today. So, but that's okay. It was really, really cool to have a fun session with mostly the team. So that was great. We will talk to you again soon, and I really appreciate you joining us.